nonetheless, that's the first series. So let's start with the Minnesota OKC series and talk about that one since that tip off is in about an hour. So people can't say we were swayed by the game in any way and how we're predicting for this to go. Who is your X factor in the Minnesota OKC series?
Reverse Uno. Who's your X factor?
Okay, reverse Uno. I'm gonna go with Julius Randle and Jalen Williams, J Dub, which comes down to me is like which team's second option is going to be able to show up most consistently because, like I mentioned, Julius Randle was hooping throughout the playoffs. He really did his thing against the Warriors. I saw Draymond make mention of the fact that, well, I don't, I got to be real. Like, I just got beat in my matchup. Like, Julius Randle was better than me throughout that series. Tip my cap to him. I'm like, yeah, he was efficient, doing everything he had to do. And then on the other side, you have J Dub, who was a first-time All-Star this year, someone who the Thunder really depended on, and he didn't show up in quite a few games against the Nuggets. When he did show up, it looked a lot different for him. So my question going into this one is like, between Randall and J Dub, who can show up most consistently for their team? Because I think that's going to tell a big story.
Yeah, I think by that logic, I will also go with Jalen Williams. More so because they need him. Like they really.
Oh, J Will.
Sorry, J Dub.
Okay,
the one you were talking about. I used his government. Yes. I think that he is the X factor because if he is a consistent, like secondary initiator, like not even necessarily like from a scoring standpoint, but if he's just somebody that they can rely on to kind of run offense, like, and it's not just Shea, like that unlocks so much for them. But not only was he not efficient as a scorer in that last series, like he wasn't even kind of like a threat for the most part. So he didn't change the way that Denver had to guard him. If even if the shot isn't falling, if he can kind of find ways to like get into the paint and like just put pressure on the defense, like that unlocks so much for Oklahoma City. So it's like if he's back to even close to what his regular season form is, that changes kind of the trajectory of the series for me. So I think that makes him a big X factor.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. And even thinking about like how he gets a lot of his points too, like if they can get turnovers that he can get out and run, like he's going to normally be that lead guy out there getting those easy buckets. And that brings me to the thing for me to watch in this series with the Thunder and the Wolves, which is like defense and turnovers in the sense of for defense, this is about to be Rudy Gobert's toughest defensive matchup so far the entire postseason. And even with that, he had like the one dominant game against the Lakers. He hasn't been bad or anything like that, but he hasn't been anything that you like point to and like, oh yeah, it's Gobert. So the defense is going to be a question for them, especially with how much that OKC likes to drive too. So he's going to be tested continuously if they're going to be at the point of attack. And then the turnovers piece, like I mentioned, OKC's defense, they just generate a lot of turnovers. And the Wolves can be loose with that basketball. So if the Wolves do not take care of the basketball, it is going to be free chicken for OKC throughout the entire game. What about you? What do you think is the thing to watch in this series?
I don't know if I've mentioned it in like our series previews to this point, but I think that a lot of and like this, the smallest possible sample size, but it burned something in my brain. Like so much of I think the way that I look at OKC is colored by that NBA Cup Finals where the Bucks size just overwhelmed them. And again, like going back to my last point, that was a game where Jalen Williams wasn't really like a secondary guy, and it was just like they really lack creation. So for me, it's kind of looking at how does Oklahoma City combat the size across the lineup for Minnesota, because like yes, the starting front line is all 6'9", 6'10" plus. Then you have Nars Reid off the bench. Like Dante and Naw are like their backup backcourt, and both of them are 6'4" plus. Like there's just so much size across the board. There isn't really like Mike Conley's like 6'1", but he's smart as hell. He was on the green grind Memphis team, so like he has a history of playing bigger than he is. So it's just like, how do they handle that size? And granted, they didn't have Chet in that game that I'm talking about, like the NBA Cup final. So that has changed things. But again, like Chet is probably lighter than I am. So it's kind of like he has the length, and obviously he's a dominant defender, but just the sheer size. Like I'm just imagining, Julius Randle putting his shoulder into a couple of those guys, and they're going to go flying. Granted, if they officiate the smaller OKC defenders like they did in Game 7, like
I
maybe the
mean,
size is kind of negated because like they let Caruso get away with murder on Jokic, and it's like,
and as a Bucks fan, we seen that with Giannis. Marcus Smart used to get away with everything when he was trying to check Giannis. So it's not the first time I've seen something like that. But if they don't call it that way, especially with Lou Dort being who I'm going to assume is going to have that Ant matchup primarily, and if they let him play, like it can get really interesting. There's two teams that play some really physical defense, but the Thunder, as we saw, when they start to swarm and the turnovers start happening, it can be an avalanche that happens really, really quick. I see Shylon popped into the comments. He said, "What's good, fam? Dynamic duo in the building." You know. But yeah, I'm excited for OKC and Minnesota. And Minnesota's been surprising all throughout the playoffs. I did have them going or winning against the Warriors in the second round. I had them losing in the first round though against the Lakers. But who do you have in the Western Conference Finals heading to the NBA finals to represent the West?
I got Minnesota in 6.
I'm
still like that. Game 7 was impressive to a degree, although you have Michael Porter Jr. with half a shoulder, you have Aaron Gordon with his hamstring falling off the bone, you have an interim coach. Like there's no way that game that series should have been even remotely that close. But they did what they had to do in Game 7, so like that, at least maybe that's a mental hurdle for them to get over. But like I'm still like, they've been shaky. Like even in like they swept Memphis in round 1, but like even then, like it wasn't like this dominant performance. Like I wasn't impressed. So like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the reps that Minnesota has logged in these playoffs, last year's playoff run, like I just have more faith in them as a team. Like we said it after the trade, well, at least I said it after the trade happened. Like I don't know who won or lost this trade, but I feel like both teams make a lot more sense now than their previous iterations. So it's like things have kind of slotted in and like kind of coalesced for Minnesota in a way over the last 2 to 3 months. Like even going back to the regular season, like they've been playing really well, and like they've lost 2, 3. They've lost 2 or 3 games in the playoffs. They were rolling coming in. Like they're a team that's been more impressive to me. And again, like those size concerns, I think are kind of weighing heavily for me. So I got Minnesota at 6. It's kind of weird that we haven't mentioned Shea and Ant like pretty much at all. I guess it's kind of like you know what you're going to get from the two of them, but I can also see like Ant seems like the type to kind of like take things personally. So it's like, Shea is probably going to get the MVP at some point. I mean, eventually they have to give the MVP award. Like it's kind of weird that we haven't gotten it yet. But I would imagine that Shea gets it during this series, which may just put an extra battery in his back too.
Now, I will say that my dream finals matchup would be Wolves Knicks with the trade. Like the storylines are all there for it. That's what I would like to see. But I think OKC comes out on top in this series. I'm going Thunder in 6 in this series, in large part because OKC is uniquely equipped to really try to take Anthony Edwards out the game. And again, he is a star. He is going to be ready for the stage. He was there last year. He didn't get to make it to the finals. I know this team is motivated to try to get to the NBA finals. I think it's going to be a really good series, but Lou Dort, if the refs really are letting them play, he is going to be really, really tough to shake off because he can fight over screens really well. And if you do get a switch, like there's no weak link on OKC side where you get there and you're like, all right, like I'm about to go to work. This is what I'm hunting for. Like you can try to hunt Chet if you want to, but he's also 7 feet who and he can move decent. And if he can't get there, he has the length to still try to bother your shot. So that matched with the question of like, if they are able to take Ant out the game, then where are the points coming from? And I don't know how much I trust Julius Randle, even though he has been hooping so far. This is a different type of defense they can throw at him. And they're going to need a lot more from Dante DiVincenzo. He has not shot the ball well in the playoffs after shooting the ball fairly well in the regular season. So if that doesn't turn for them with OKC's length and ability to just get those takeovers and run, I'm going with the Thunder because I think they'll be able to force the Wolves into more bad decisions than the Wolves can force them into bad decisions. Now, if the Thunder's role guys aren't making shots, it's all Wolves. It's all Wolves. So it'll be a fun one.